All right. So, good evening, Soul Embodiment Tribe. I'm laughing because I am about to do a message that I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. I never do, but this is new for me to channel whatever is going to come in as specifically for someone's name. I don't usually get messages like this, and it's way outside of my comfort zone, but I'm being challenged right now. I don't know if you guys are also feeling this, but I'm being pushed way outside of my comfort zone, and I'm leaning into that. And if something comes in and it's uncomfortable, I'm doing it anyway. So, this message is for Jen, or if you have Jen in your name, your the root Jen. This is in relation to what you might be experiencing in your reality right now, specifically because your name is Jen. And something that I've noticed, and you may have this happen as well, is that when I'm scheduling clients, for example, well, when I was doing coaching, I would schedule a whole bunch of people in one week, and it would be funny because I would have people show up on my calendar and they would all have the same name that day. Like maybe it was Amy or, maybe it was Ryan. Doesn't matter. It's just really funny because I thought to myself, there must be some sort of tone or frequency happening that is calling that name. Like there's a reason that those people are part of who I'm facilitating or guiding right now. So I am giving this message to the gens that are out there, my friends and people that have been communicating to me about people that have the name Jen, Jennifer, Janessa, Jenny, anything like that. So karmic relationships, I am noticing that these individuals are having a role in facilitating, and we all do, but really specifically right now, karmic relationships. So it might be animals communicating with humans, or people who have passed, loved ones who have passed, uh, to be able to, the people that are still earthside, being able to hear from them. It's people who are facilitating, maybe there's been a breakdown in communication and I am super emotional today in family communication. And so I just want you to know if your name is Jen, you are providing a salve to a wound in humanity, and that specifically the tone and the frequency of that name, Jen, when people are saying your name, even when they're shortening the name, if they're using that frequency in their tone, they're projecting a flavor, a perception, an awareness of consciousness of yourself. And even if it feels uncomfortable, or even if you um, are feeling insignificant in your role, or maybe it feels uncomfortable, or it feels like a conflict and there's something very confronting happening, just know that there is something very big happening specifically to your name. And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing at least 10 different people that this week that have been involved in the facilitation of this. And you may be one of those people that are in a relationship with a Jen, and you may be getting an opportunity to shift some energy because of your relationship with them. And I am blessed with many Jens in my life, and I always have had actually a connection with that name. And so I'm inviting everyone to really just think outside of the box, even with your name or the names or the tones that you hear in this spelling. Words and letters have power, such power. And when we're sharing a name and we're talking about people, how are we adding to that person's reality? How are we witnessing that person? How are we providing assistance to them along their journey by seeing them in the highest light rather than assuming the worst about the person? This is a really big opportunity in our relationships to see people beyond what we could imagine is possible potentially in relationships. And I'm not suggesting that anybody stay in a relationship where the other person is choosing not to show up for themselves or for the relationship, where somebody's blaming and shaming, but if that kind of stuff is going on, how are we handling that? How are we giving space for a potential shift to happen, with or without us, and having the trust and the faith that sometimes that tough love of removing ourselves, or, it's the law of polarity. So it may seem like tough love to you or feel like it because you may not want to do it, but the space a lot of the time is what gives us an opportunity to see without influencing each other in that, physical reality. Because when we see each other and when we witness each other, we influence the behavior of the other people around us. It's not even pure pressure. I've seen it happen over and over again. Especially if you guys are into human design and the gene keys, you can see what shadow unconscious behavior is going on that you may not realize. And it could also be, if you look in human design, and I'll drop a link for that later, the human design profile, some of the centers are defined, and that is going to determine, are you behaving this way in front of other people, or am I not? And if you have a lot of open centers, you can be very influential as far as like when other people are witnessing you. It's a little bit harder to not be influenced by the energy around you. So if you're a reflector, a projector, or even I've seen a lot of generator charts that have a lot of open centers. And so it's an invitation to just consider the energies that are going on in your life right now and just have a deeper self-awareness and understanding for what is going on collectively, energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, because when we understand what's going on around us, we can have more acceptance for our natural biorhythm. We each have our own natural rhythm that plays into the role of consciousness and how we're expanding and how we're communicating with one another and how we're growing and understanding each other at a deeper level. And when we choose differently, when we're in a relationship and we have a situation happen and maybe we're triggered, maybe we're angry, maybe we're hurt, we're upset, that is the biggest opportunity for us to choose differently. We're in it. When we're having the emotion, that is the time for us to shift it. We can shift our mindset all day long and be in this other frequency, this other vibration. However, and that's just as equally as important, but when you are in the shadows and you're in the unknown and you're blind because you can't really see when you're in the dark like that, it's an opportunity to choose differently anyway. Just see what happens. What happens when we're in that space and we imagine something different than what we thought? Because humanity has a lot of trauma that it's clearing right now. Collective lifetimes of trauma stored in our genetics and our DNA. And so it's coming up. It's a gift. It doesn't feel like it in the moment. Trust me, I've been in my fair share this week of transmuting. But we're not doing it so that we don't experience it anymore. We're doing it so that next time we're there, we remember. Because we remember when we're in it again. We don't, that's like traveling into different frequencies and dimensions. When you're in this high frequency, you remember all of the things. But when you're sick and you're, not feeling very well, you forget until you're in that space and something happens and you choose differently. And so this is an invitation for everyone to consider how Jen, especially, is playing a role in this, but how are you influencing the outcome of these really intense emotions by choosing differently? So I hope this message invites you to look at what patterns you're having and deciding if this is how you want to respond in this energy the next time. And I do it too. I get to try again the next time, over and over again, till the end of time. And so I've learned that when you do it the first time, that's the hardest. And then each time it gets easier and easier, and then your response in that energy just changes. It's different. We don't stop experiencing it. We just experience it differently. So that is all I have to say about that. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and I will see you in the next video.